So normally I would say it's way too early to make a judgment on something like this, but this whole Jericho Appreciation Society thing just don't quite sit right with me. So Jericho came out to recap what happened, and he was playing super good guy. He was John Cena level good guy. And if that didn't arouse your suspicion, you just haven't watched enough wrestling. or if it did arouse your suspicion, maybe you watched too much. But it was immediately clear that something was up. And out comes Eddie Kingston, and he bears his soul. And this was all about a handshake before, and he outright says, I don't need a handshake off you, but they shake hands anyway. And then out comes 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. Now, one thing I did like when this happened was 2.0 and Garcia come in, and they go after Kingston and Jericho. And Jericho kind of falls down immediately and is sort of clutching his neck. And he'd already mentioned before that his neck was still hurting from the stomp puller, the move Kingston used to win. And so you could kind of believe that maybe Jericho was sort of reeling and was taking a while to get back up. And initially it didn't really occur to me that they didn't really do all that much to Jericho. He kind of tumbled down, and then he kind of laid in the corner while they went after Kingston. So I did like that. That was quite clever. Because then you can look back at it afterwards and you can see what was going... knowing what was about to happen, it makes a lot more sense. And then Santana and Ortiz come out. And Jericho, long story short, turns on Santana and Ortiz. And this is kind of where it loses me. Because this whole thing started, if you remember, this whole Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho thing started because Jericho was feuding with 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. And Santana and Ortiz kept coming out to make the save. And that led Kingston to say, you're living in Jericho's shadow. And I guess, thinking about it now, you can go back to Santana and Ortiz beating Jericho in a tag match. And then the line that Jericho said, you woke something up in me that I thought was gone. But I still don't really get why he would join with 2.0. In particular 2.0. I mean, he spent weeks making fun of him. He referred to them as Terrance and Phillip at one point. And all the blockhead stuff. And all of a sudden now they're in his Appreciation Society. And Daniel Garcia as well. Bryan Danielson was dropping hints about him. If you go back to my video about Danielson and Moxley from Revolution, from before that match happened, I kind of laid out what I think is going on there, with Danielson kind of collecting prospects and then luring them away from other people who he thinks were leading them down the wrong path. The other thing I don't really like, or don't get, is this whole influencer thing. Jericho has been trying to trademark. He tried to trademark GFY, and he tried to trademark the influencer. And I guess he was successful because he's used both of those terms. As Jericho reinventions go, this one feels a bit out of time. Usually Jericho's quite good at knowing when it's time to change it up, time to reinvent himself. Usually he goes away for a while. And he did go away and come back looking in better shape, to the point where people thought he'd had ab transplants. But the thing that confuses me about this influencer thing is that influencers have been a thing for quite a few years now. And it feels like Jericho just learned what they are. You know, and he's somebody who normally keeps up with what's going on. You know, if WWE beat you to it by having Logan Paul at WrestleMania last year, then that's quite alarming for Jericho's finger on the pulse. But this Appreciation Society thing, I mean, I am glad that he didn't sort of try to rebrand the Inner Circle or sort of call this new group the new and improved Inner Circle, because it's new, but I wouldn't call it improved. I mean, you've got 2.0, you've got your tag team, and you've got Garcia as your singles guy that he kind of replaces Guevara, and you've got Jake Hager being replaced by Jake Hager. When this was going on, I was fully convinced that he was going to kind of call this group his new and improved Inner Circle, and I'm very glad he didn't do that. Because if you're going to make this new group, you need to make it far away from the Inner Circle. You need to keep that a separate thing. Obviously, Santana and Ortiz are out with the group, and Guevara, I mean, he came out at the end of the show in his Inner Circle gear for his TNT title match, but maybe he'll be upset with Jericho because nobody came to help him with American Top Team. Maybe that's where he'll fit into this down the line. But yeah, I know it's too early to be sceptical, but I still thought I'd sort of get some thoughts out there. Am I being too hasty? What did you think of it? Let me know if you feel so inclined. I just kind of wanted to get some thoughts out there on what happened on this Dynamite, this very fast-paced Dynamite for the most part, and I might talk about something else as well if I feel so inspired. So yeah, thank you for watching if you did.